Sometimes they're going to be given 2 points, and instead of just finding the slope, they want you to find the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points. So let's take a look at what we actually need to get this done. First off, if they're wanting the slope-intercept form of the equation, you need to understand the basic is y equals mx plus b. That means you're going to need to find the m, which is the slope, and we're also going to have to find the b, the y-intercept. If we find those 2 things, we're done. In order to find the slope, you should be familiar with m equals y minus y. I'll get it right here in a second. M equals y minus y over x minus x. And that was on our last lesson, 5.8, so we should still be pretty good to go there. And then the last part, this is the new information here. It's something called the point slope form. It's a linear equation, and it's y minus y equals m parentheses x minus x. And I've got it in red here. That's the point information that we're going to use, and we're also going to slide in the slope information. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Here's the basic directions. Find the slope-intercept of the equation of the line that goes through points -2, -4, and 2, 8. Well, the very first thing we need to do is find the slope. So let's go ahead and plug our y values in. I'm going to go ahead and go with -4 first. Then I'm going to plug in 8. See this +8 right there? So -8. The minus is all about the formula. See that minus sign right here? That has to go in there. Now I can come back and let's plug in our x values here. Since I started with -4, I'm going to go with this one right here, -2. Then we've got to plug in the minus sign and +2. That's what we've got here. Go through and complete your subtraction. -12 divided by -4 is +3. So we found success. Our m is +3. And I'm going to circle that right there and make a note so that way I won't forget it. Let's go on down to our second step. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to use that point slope form of the equation, y minus y equals m parentheses x minus x. That's what we're going to use. It's really just a manipulation of our slope formula. We got the x minus x kind of broken off and multiplying that m over there, and we're left with the y minus y on the right side. But it's not as important to understand where it came from. Just understand this is a very standard, standard's the wrong word. It's an equation that you're going to use a lot, okay? And all we're going to do is we're going to take this m right here, m equals 3, and we're going to plug it in for this m right here. So let me just make a copy of this equation, and then I can actually replace it with 3. There we go. And how about I actually make that green, so that way it kind of lines up with what you're used to seeing. There we go. And now, do you see this y1 right here? And also see the x1 right here? We need to take a look at these 2 points and decide which one we're going to use, because each of them has an x and a y, and we're going to plug them in for the x here and the y here. And that's going to let us be able to manipulate that equation to go further. I kind of like using this one right here because they're both positive, but I could absolutely use the negatives. In fact, let's go ahead and use the negatives because that's the hardest thing, and sometimes you can't avoid it. So the x value is -2. So this x value right here is going to be replaced with -2. This y value right here, as you can see, is a -4. So we're going to replace the y1 with -4. Now, as we look at this equation, let's pull it on down a little bit, have a little bit of space. Y minus -4 is the same as y plus 4. Same thing over here. Once you change the signs, it's the same as x plus 2. And that's all that we have to do when we plug in a negative number. Now, we're almost done. Basically, I want to solve it where the y is all by itself. In this case, there's no number on the outside of these parentheses, so we can just get rid of the parentheses. There's no number out there. It's just a +1 if you want it to be. But over here, we've got the issue of a 3 is on the outside of this parenthesis, so we need to use distribution. 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times +2 is +6. We're left with y plus 4 on the left side of the equation. And now the only thing I have to do is get this +4 away from the y, and then we're in business. We've got our slope-intercept form. Minus the 4, minus the 4. and y is going to equal 3x plus 2. So let's look at the original directions. It says find the slope-intercept equation of the line that goes through the points -2, -4, and 2, 8. Well, it should look like a y equals your slope and then your y-intercept. Well, y equals your slope and your y-intercept. So it looks like we've done it. If you'd like to know for sure if your equation is correct, take these 2 points, plug them in both times into this equation, and see if it makes a true statement. If it does, then it means that point is actually on the line, and it's supposed to be. The line goes through those points. Let's go do one more, just that way you can see it, and I'll try to do it a little bit faster about taking the 2 points and plugging them in and finding slope and whatnot. So here we go. We've got the line passing through these 2 points. We want slope-intercept form. So first thing, find slope. So m is equal to, let's see, 1 minus -5, because I took my y values, plugged them in, and now 3 minus 0. 1 minus -5 is the same as 1 plus 5, so that's 6, and 3 minus 0 is 0. Anytime that you get a 0 on the bottom, that's known as an undefined. So actually, let's change I'm sorry, 3 minus 3 is 3. Wow, almost made a huge mistake there. 3 minus 0 is 3. So my slope is going to be 2, positive 2. Draw a little line there. Also, I'm going to make a small note that m is equal to 2. Now, use y minus y equals m parentheses x minus x. And if you want, you can put this one subscript in there, and it just means that we're going to substitute in for the second y and the second x here in this equation. So let's see here. Let's use the 3 and the 1. Y minus my y value is 1. Be very careful there. Sometimes you'll accidentally put in the x value there, and that's wrong. My m, or my slope, is positive 2, and my x stays the same there, but now I'm ready to put in the x for this x1 point right there. So that's going to be 3. And now I just have to distribute and get the y by itself. So y minus 1, nothing to happen there. 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times -3 is -6. Add the 1 to both sides to get the y all by itself, and we're left with y equals 2x minus 5. That is our equation. Again, if you wanted to find out if you're correct, take these 2 points and plug both of them in to make sure that they are indeed on this equation. So we've got 3, 1, and -5. 0, -5. You know, this is the x, this is the y, x, and the y. Let's just test it out. 1 is a y, so this y becomes a 1. This 3 is going to replace that x right there, so that's 2 times 3 minus 5. Let's see. 1 equals 6 minus 5. 1 equals 1. Yep, that one's right. Let's go try this one. -5 is the y. 2 times the x is actually a 0, and then minus 5. Well, 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 5 is -5. So we know for sure that this equation does indeed go through these 2 points.